everyone, I'm Mind, and I just got another issue of the LEGO Ninjago Magazine. This is issue number 101, and you can see it comes with a Crystalized Aspheera minifigure. We will, of course, take a look at the minifigure at the end of this video. For now, I'm going to remove it from the magazine, so that way we can get a full look at the cover. And there you go, there's the full magazine cover with the polybag removed. You can see it says, Amazing LEGO Toy, a Crystal Snake. I guess technically true, I don't know why we're not calling her by her name, but alright. But they do actually say it down here, LEGO Toy Aspheera, and apparently she's mean, evil, unfair, and vindictive. Which, yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. We also have some massive critters. How will the ninja stop the gigantic bugs? I assume that has to do with the comic in this month's magazine, as well as an epic game to conquer the Crystal Temple. And then there's apparently a wicked quiz that's really tricky about if I'm a Ninjago expert, so I'm definitely looking forward to that one. But no, let's get this open. Let's see what's inside. Here on the first page of the magazine, we have an advertisement for LEGO City. Looks like they're mixing up the advertisements in every magazine. Because, yeah, last month it was an advertisement for the Quest for the Lost Powers book. And then previously we had, like, LEGO Friends advertisements. I kind of like that. They're, like, trying to introduce kids to more different themes if they're only into Ninjago. But then we have our table of contents right here, as well as a little mini-game snake chain. Then turning to the very first page, this is the page all about Aspheera. Aspheera, this nasty snake sorceress could steal elemental powers. Kai experienced this firsthand in Season 11. A little later, Aspheera was locked up in Cryptarium prison until the ninja suddenly needed her help. We've got some screenshots from our timer Crystalized. And then here we have a series of 3 minigames that you're supposed to do against somebody. One person plays as Wu, one person plays as Aspheera, and it's basically who can complete the minigames first. This one's like Sudoku, this one's just like arrange the pictures in the right order, and that one's a maze. That's cute though, I like how they have the competitive aspect. That adds a little bit of something to it. Okay, I like the colors on this page at least. This looks fun to look at. But we have duel time. When Oni, Lloyd, and Samurai X meet the Overlord and Harumi, the battle is on. Find out who wins each duel. Okay, once again, these are 2 competitive games. That's neat to see. And turning the page again, here we have a villainous mess, and this is a Spot the Differences game. That's a little concerning looking. We also just have a Benchstone guard with hair and with a mustache. Then we have Get Ready to Rumble. You have to figure out which path leads to each ninja's weapon. We also got an interesting expression for Cole right there. I wonder if this is going to be the alternate face on Dragon's Rising Cole. I've got a feeling the answer is no, but that would be pretty funny. Then turning the page again, here we are at the comic. As always with the comics, I'm not going to read the entire thing to you guys, but if you want to pause the video and read it for yourself, feel free. And if I notice anything especially funny or interesting, I will stop and point it out to you guys. But anyway, the comic for this month is called Pyramid Payback, and I believe this is a sequel to last month's comic, which was a sequel to the previous month's comic. So if you want to be caught up on all that, make sure to scroll back on my page and check out my other previous magazine reviews. But yeah, let's get into this one. Okay, so we got a lot of dialogue in this one. Normally they don't talk this much. But Clutch Power's adventuring team got lost in the Temple of Mambo V, the Pyramid of Mambo V, which is the pyramid that they found Aspheera in for the first time. So I guess they're going to be returning there to try to save them. Turning to the next page. Oh yeah, literally we are seeing Aspheera. Okay, so they go to visit Aspheera in prison, and by the way, the way they draw Aspheera is really weird, because they try to make it look like the actual minifigure, but then they also try to make blue Aspheera, so she's still got the ghost tail, but it's like a solid piece, and then she's just missing the fire on her head. Also, I think these are supposed to be Pyro Vipers, like the Pyro Whippers, but instead they're just like the fire Aspheera figure, but without the fire on it, and just with solid legs. They definitely look a little uncanny. What did they do to my poor man Pyro Whipper? That is not him. Anyway, Aspheera gave the ninja a map to try to lead them to where they want to go in the temple. However, of course, the map is incorrect because, I mean, it's Aspheera. So let's turn to the next page. Alright, so then they fall into a trap and gotta fight these giant beetles. But of course, we are now at the break in the comic. So let's turn to the next page, and we will be back to it soon. What's this, though? Pick a pack. Nelson the Paperboy has delivered the latest LEGO Ninjago magazines urgently. Help him pack the mags in the right order from start to finish. Alright, that's kind of funny. They just got pictures of a bunch of the magazines. Specifically these 4 up here, and you gotta pack them in the right order. That's a little bit funny. I guess it's creative, though. I don't know. Then we have the posters in the center of the magazine, so let me remove them real quick. Here's the first poster. It says Ninjago City's arch enemies, and you can see it's got all these pink crystals, and they have the entire Crystal King Council right here. Though the renders are a little bit weird, because that image of Harumi is from the show, or it's a TV show render at least. And then Mr. F, Vangelis, Pythor, and Aspheera, I believe, are all minifigure renders. Those are the ones used for the magazines. And the mechanic is just straight up a set image. They took that picture from the set. And then you have the Crystal King's eyes in the back, which I believe that's a minifigure render as well. well. So yeah, a bit of an inconsistent art style, but I do like the overall look of this one. I don't know, probably not my favorite we've ever gotten, but also far from the worst. I think it's an alright poster, not one I'm gonna hang up. And then turning it to the other side, here is the alternate poster, Invincible Ice, and it's just got Golden Dragon Zane with all this ice behind him, and then looks like fire at the bottom. This looks pretty cool. Yeah, I'd say I like this one overall. I like that render. We have seen that render before, I think even on a previous poster. And the icy background looks cool. I don't know if I need this text at the bottom. I don't get why Invincible Ice is here. I don't know what that adds. It's also a bit weird how Zane's wings are yellow, sort of like Jay's. They should be blue. But yeah, those are very minor things. I think this is a good one overall, all things considered. But again, nothing spectacular. Not one I care a ton about. Now we are back to the magazine, and you can see we just have an ad for the LEGO City magazine. I don't think I've seen them put an ad here before. I guess they're mixing things up a bit. But when we turn to the next page, we should be back to the comic. Okay, so it turns out the beetles are not angry, and they're just hungry. So the ninja give the beetles a lot of food. Gotcha. We also have Lloyd using his powers here, and the sound effect they use is Schraz? Schraz. I know I've got a few German viewers. German viewers, let me know in the comments, is that like a common sound effect? Because I know these are originally written in German and then they're translated. So sometimes there's things that just don't translate correctly. Like I think in one of the previous issues, there was something that like they had Fugidove mimicking a bird noise, but it was like what they use for a bird noise typically in German and not in English. So it didn't really work for the English version, but in German it made sense. So I'm just curious, is Schraz a very common sound effect in German? Or is that just the magazine making up whatever? Anyway, now turning to the next page of the comic. Okay, that's weird. They turned the speech bubble on its side here. That makes it kind of annoying to read. Like I get the characters are on their side, but like normally they don't do that if a character's like at a weird orientation. That's a bit bizarre. I wonder if that was intentional or not. Because like the scurry sound effects aren't on their side. I guess they're slightly tilted, but not that much. That's pretty intense. But anyway, yeah, the ninja found more Chrono Steel, which is like the arc in the comics right now. And then turning to the very final page. Okay, and that's the end of the comic. They sort of imply that they rescued the Explorers Club members, but they don't actually show it at any point. I had to reread it a few times. I'm like, am I missing something? But no, we never see the other Explorers Club members get rescued. But I guess they were, because the ninja got back at the end. But yeah, this is kind of weird. They kind of just nix the whole Chrono Steel story that they've been doing. Wu basically just walks through and says, ah, yeah, that's not true. Don't worry about it. And then it says the end, which the last few comics said to be continued, not the end. So this is them definitely saying this storyline's over, which I don't know how to feel about. On the one hand, like, I thought the Chrono Steel storyline was contradicting Quest for the Lost Powers, so I did find it a bit odd they had two stories trying to tell the exact same story. But on the other hand, it kind of makes the last 3 months of comics feel a little bit silly, because this didn't culminate in anything. What was the point of having a 3-comic arc just for it to end in this? I don't know. I guess now it doesn't contradict canon. You can still consider these canon, I suppose. But, yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm glad this arc is over, so they can move on to something else. Because, yeah, it didn't even seem like the Chrono Steel was the focus of this comic. It just sort of showed up at the end. Maybe they were like halfway through writing these, and then they found out about Quest for the Lost Powers, so just sort of tried to wrap it up. Yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes next month. Overall, this comic was fine. I mean, it was fun, lots of dialogue, but some weird moments too. Also, something is wrong with Cole's face right here. I don't know why he looks like that. But yeah, that's the end of the comic, but of course it is not the end of the magazine, so let's turn to the next page. Oh, and here we have season question time. So is this the quiz? Let's see how I do. If you want to do this quiz for yourself, pause the video now, because I am going to talk about it as I go through. But they advertised this as really tricky, so let's see how tricky it truly is. Question 1. Misdemeanor has been smuggling Vengestone for a long time and carries 2 flamethrowers around just in case. Who puts a stop to her? That would be the new ninja managed to stop her. Question 2. Kai, Lloyd, and Zane break into Cryptarian prison illegally. Why? That would be answer 1. They want to free the snake sorceress Aspheera. Question 3. Master Wu was asked to play various games to pass the time. One of them is pancake stacking. Who is the challenger? That would be Aspheera. Question 4. Who stops the bus full of inmates and helps the ninja escape? That would be Nia and her samurai axe mech, as you see in the picture right here. Question 5. When the ninja are on the run, this marshal is supposed to catch them. What's his name? That would be Hound Dog McBrog. Question 6. Lloyd is being held prisoner in the top villain's headquarters. Who is responsible for this? That would be Harumi. Lloyd's former girlfriend is behind it. Question 7. Once again, the home of the ninja is destroyed. Who destroys the monastery of Spinjitzu? Crystal spiders blow themselves up. Question 8. The new ninja have also caught the crystal infection. How many ninja belong to this team? That one's a little bit tougher. I think it's 5 though, right? Yeah, 5. Yeah, it's almost definitely 5. Question 9. Lord and Lloyd Garmadon battle the Overlord. What form did the villain take in its big season finale? That would be he mutated into a mighty centaur. And then finally, question 10. The ninja attain the golden dragon form. What sequence of movements triggers this powerful form? Alright, do they have it correct this time? And nope, not in English they don't. So the options are blank, step back, pick your nose and turn, jump up, fart. Get it, guys? Fart. That's pretty funny. step back and bare your teeth, or finally, jump up, step back, spin around, and turn. Which the answer is none of those. I assume it's 3 because that's the only one that makes sense, but this is like the 3rd issue in a row where they've translated jump up, kick back, whip around, and spin incorrectly. They really need to get better translators for these magazines. I don't know how you get that wrong 3 issues in a row. But anyway, let's find the solution words now. The solution word is spinjitzu, so that means yes, I was correct. Or I guess spinjitzu exclamation point. And the super total right here is 4. So I guess they were right. That was a really wicked and really tricky quiz. Anyway, now moving on from the quiz, turning to the next page, here we have a temple hut. This is like a little dice rolling game, I think. This is cute. It's got like trivia questions. I always like when they include these. I think they're a lot of fun. Then turning to the next page, here we have an advertisement for the LEGO Star Wars magazine. They're advertising a lot of other magazines in this. They can maybe chill in the advertisements a little bit. Then we have creepy crystal spiders. You just have to circle how many crystal spiders there are. This one you have to figure out which silhouette matches Cole's car. And then turning to the final page, here we have an advertisement for next month's magazine. And this one's going to come with Golden Zane. This seems like an alright one to get. He doesn't come with his mask, unfortunately. But still getting him and his hairpiece is cool. Nice, an alternate version of this guy. I do like the accessory that he has, like the giant ice scythe that's pretty cool. But all things considered, compared to some of the recent Ninjago magazines, I don't know, this might not be the best one. We'll get to that next month though. There's just one more thing in the magazine. We have ninja playing cards, which you can cut out. Oh, and these are actually really cute. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you've probably heard me say this before, but when I was a kid, I remember like cereal boxes would have these kind of things on the back, and I would actually cut them out and play with them. So I know I would have loved something like this as a kid, so it makes me really happy to see they're still included. I think these are genuinely a lot of fun, and I'm happy to see they're going to be a next issue too. But I think that's about it for this Ninjago magazine, at least for now. But of course, that's not the end of the video, because we still have the Aspheera minifigure to review, so let's get that poly bag open and take an up-close look at that minifigure. Alright, here's the poly bag, so let's get it opened up, pour the pieces out, and here's the look of the figure all built up. This is of course Aspheera in her crystallized general form, and of the crystallized generals, I'd say she's probably the second least interesting. The only one that I consider worse in terms of like actual minifigure is the Skull Sorcerer, who was actually in a previous magazine. But yeah, I definitely would have preferred the Mechanic or Pythor or Mr. F just because they're harder figures to get. Still though, unlike the Skull Sorcerer, Aspheera at least has some exclusive parts. She of course shares the same torso that all the other crystal generals have, but it is a really good one. I love the design. The purple and the gunmetal gray just looks so nice, especially with that like pink printing on top of it, and the Overlord symbol in the center. The designers just did such a great job with these guys, and Aspheera is absolutely no exception. She is really, really cool. However, my biggest issue with her is this tail piece. She's got just like the standard LEGO ghost tail piece, and she doesn't really have that in the show. She should have a snake tail like Pythor has, so I'm not sure why she doesn't have that here. Additionally, the colors are just sort of wrong. If it had been recolored to match the crystallized colors, like the pink, I don't think I would have minded this as much, but it's just this purple, which really doesn't match Aspheera, it doesn't match crystallized. It was just a part that already existed, so LEGO used it. It's not a huge deal, and like the figure still looks good, but yeah, it definitely would have looked way better with the snake tail. But her headpiece is really cool. It's the same as her original headpiece, though of course the gunmetal gray and trans pink, and the armor piece is always nice to get with like the crystal spikes. Her weapon, though, I will admit, is pretty boring, just like one of the little crystal blades. I suppose if you don't have that yet, this is a fine way to get it, but they come in quite a lot of sets. I definitely would have preferred a more interesting build. So yeah, I guess if you don't have Crystalized Aspheera yet, this is a cheaper way to get her in this magazine, or if you want duplicates, this is cheaper than buying a second of the full set. But of all the figures they could have chosen, there was definitely more interesting ones out there. So yeah, while I like this one, this is far from my favorite magazine figure, but I'm still happy to add a duplicate to my collection. And so overall, what are my thoughts on this magazine? I honestly thought this magazine was pretty average. The games seem pretty good, I actually quite like the games, but everything else I just feel very meh about. Like the posters weren't bad, but they weren't like exceptionally good either, they were just sort of fine. Same thing with the comic, like I liked it, but it was far from one of their best, and kind of just threw away the last 2 months of comics. Same thing with the figure, like she's alright. She was previously exclusive, so it is nice to have another way to get her, but there's definitely more interesting figures that they could have chosen. So yeah, I feel like this is one of those magazines where it's not like a must-have. It's not like, whoa, this is a super rare chance to get this exclusive figure. Like, no, if you pass up on this one, you're not missing too much. But if you liked what you saw, I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's a fine magazine, not a bad one, just not one I have a ton to say about. But, of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys thought of this magazine in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.